The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. At that time, Jesus looked up and saw the rich putting their gifts into the treasury. And he saw a poor widow put in 2 copper coins. And he said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all of them. For they all contributed out of their abundance. But she, out of her poverty, put in all the living that she had." The Gospel of the Lord. There is a story of 2 little boys, brothers, and they were quite young, and the one got seriously ill and went into hospital and needed a blood transfusion. And they found out that his little brother, his younger brother, was the perfect match. So the mother went to this younger child and asked the child if he would be prepared to give some blood to his brother. And he looked really perplexed. And this was a surprise to the mother because they were so close. They shared everything and they always proclaimed their love for each other and supported each other. And she couldn't quite understand why he was hesitating. But she let him think about it. She wasn't going to force him. And then eventually, after a day, he said, "Yes, Mom, I will." And she assured them that it wouldn't be very hurtful, and so it went ahead. And he gave his blood, and it was given to his brother, and his brother started to get well. But the little boy who had given the blood was still perplexed and said to the mother, "Mom, when am I going to die?" And then the mother realized why the little child had been perplexed right in the beginning. He thought that by giving his blood to his brother, that he was going to die. And that's why it took him a little while to think about it. But in the end, he made the decision that even if he had to die, he would give his blood to his brother. I wonder how often we ourselves have that same attitude for one another. We see the attitude of Jesus Christ in giving his blood for us, like that little boy. But for you and I, how often do we hesitate but not come to the final decision like that young child? In our first reading was this wonderful reading from the Apocalypse, and we were talking about being marked with the sign of Christ, those who are destined for heaven, with his name, showing that we have the stamp of approval. Well, that stamp of approval was given to us at our baptism and was shone even brighter at our confirmation. And we're reminded of it every time we come to Mass. But do we truly live it? And today I wonder if we could look at this gospel in a slightly different way, because we often refer to this as money. But let us look at our souls when the times when we have had to dig really deep and give of compassion. Give that forgiveness we felt we didn't have. This is what our Lord Jesus is asking us to do. And if I think of the many people who are suffering in the world, the refugees, we think of people even in our own parish, in really difficult relationships, husbands that are not well, wives who are suffering from depression, and the family have got to dig deep again. Finances is not going to do it. But the perpetual love of a husband or a wife or a child or a parent or a friend is what I think matters more. Are we prepared to go that length? And before we start judging ourselves, remember that many of us have already done a lot of this. So it has already become a habit and a practice and a beautiful, life-generating practice in our lives. I think the gospel is encouraging us not to stop. Because that woman was giving. She was always poor, it would seem, certainly when she became a widow. But this was a particular time when she had to dig that little bit deeper. I think that's the message of the gospel for us today. To acknowledge the times when we have already dug into that spiritual well that seems so empty. If you are feeling that your spiritual well is empty, you're in good company. In company of the widow. The same company of Jesus Christ and even that little boy. Let us never stop digging as deep as we need to go. Because then we have the beauty of knowing we are held by God's love, not our own. Amen.